Hello, dear friends. I have been fascinated all my life by this ancient and mysterious text, not because of the answers it gives, but because of the questions it asks, and that force you to reflect and try to intuit. Opinion piece. Hymn of Creation. A hymn to ascetity. The mystery of creation. Cause of the world's failure. Mircea Eliade defined myth. Mysterious origin of the universe. It escapes human comprehension. Where did this creation come from? Desire would be the primordial seed. Attitude of astonishment and humility. It was quoted by astronomer Carl Sagan. There are more questions than answers. Humility before the great cosmic mystery. Sri Aurobindo spoke of the descent of the night. There are more than 100 different myths all over the world. Let's start. The Rig Veda's hymn of creation is also called the hymn of uncertainty because it explores deep philosophical concepts related to the origin of the universe, but also highlights the mysterious and uncertain nature of that origin. This hymn has been the subject of analysis and interpretation by scholars over the centuries due to its depth. It comes from the deep reflection on the creation of the world and the lack of certainty or definitive answers about how everything came about. The hymn's verses express fundamental questions about the origin of the universe, questioning who created it, where everything came from, and how the gods and existence itself originated. The poet or sage who composed this hymn shows an attitude of wonder and humility before the mystery of creation, acknowledging that even the gods arose after creation and that the true nature of this beginning is beyond human comprehension. Thus, the uncertainty about the origin of the universe becomes a central theme of the hymn. Definition. The Nasadiya Sutta, which means after the non-existent, also known as the hymn of creation, is the 129th hymn of the 10th mandala of the Rig Veda. It has to do with cosmology and the origin of the universe. The Rig Veda is an ancient religious text from India, considered one of the oldest texts in Sanskrit literature, containing a collection of hymns dedicated to various deities and elements of nature. It begins with the statement in quotes, "So there was neither existing nor non-existence." He reflects on when, why, and through whom the universe came into being in a contemplative tone, and provides no definitive answers. Rather, he concludes that the gods may not know as well, since they came after creation, and that even the observer of what has been created in the highest heaven may or may not know. In this sense, the conventional title hymn of creation is perhaps misleading, since the poem itself does not present a cosmogony or creation myth similar to those found in other religious texts, but instead provokes the listener to wonder if the origins of the universe can ever be known. The hymn has been interpreted as one of the first appearances of skeptical inquiry and agnosticism. He was quoted by astronomer Carl Sagan, discussing, in quotes, India's tradition of skeptical questioning and unconscious humility in the face of great cosmic mysteries. Myth. A classic creation myth is a symbolic narrative of how the world began and how people first came to inhabit it. In the society in which it is told, a creation myth is often seen as conveying profound truths. They describe the ordering of the cosmos from a state of chaos. Creation myths are considered sacred tales and can be found in almost every known religious tradition. over 100 different myths have been discovered around the world. They are all stories with a plot and characters that are deities, human or animal figures, who often speak and easily transform. Professor Mircea Eliade defined the word myth in terms of creation. The myth tells a set story. It recounts an event that took place in primordial time, the legendary time of the beginnings. In other words, the myth tells how a reality came into being through the acts of supernatural beings, be it totally of reality, the cosmos, or just a fragment of reality. Text. Nasadilla Sutka, hymn of non-eternity, origin of the universe. This is not very long, and I read it literally. There was neither existing nor non-existing back then. There was no kingdom of the air, nor a heaven beyond it. What was covered, and where, and what gave shelter? Was there water there, and fathom the depth of water? There was no death or immortality. There were no signs of division between day and night. That unique, non-breathing thing breathed by its very nature. Apart from it, there was nothing at all. There was darkness at first, hidden in darkness. This all was indiscriminate chaos. All that existed then was empty and formless, by the great power of heat that unit. From then on, the desire arose in the beginning, the desire, the seed and the primitive germ of the spirit. The wise who have searched with the thought of their hearts discovered by kinship that exists in what doesn't exist. Transversally, the cut line of him was extended. What was above him then, and what next? There were breathers, there were powerful forces, free action here and energy beyond. Who knows for sure, and who can declare it here? Where this creation was born and from where it comes from. The gods are after the production of this world. Who knows then where it first came from? He, the first origin of this creation, whatever it was formed, everything or not, whose eye controlled this world in the highest heavens, he truly knows, or maybe he doesn't know. End. Interpretation. My personal interpretation is that in the beginning it was nothingness, understood not as the absence of something, but as the being that is not, that is, the unmanifested being. As it manifested, it became denser, so it gradually degraded until it reached the current world that we call reality, but there are lower worlds called underworlds according to all traditions. The descent of the night. Sri Aurobindo tries to find the cause of the failure of the world in his famous poem Savitri, and perceives a hidden power of doom beneath life. Savitri is the goddess of supreme truth who descends into the world to save it. She looks like Sophia, the goddess of wisdom. Savitri observes a feral influence that furtively penetrates and takes root in all created things, corrupting and perverting everything. A deformation of all beings is produced, and a breath of sadness is breathed over the world. Beauty, love and light yield to ugliness, darkness and concupiscence. The ego is enlarged and falsehood usurps the place of truth, while ignorance displaces knowledge. However, Savitri resists, placates terror and assumes the agony. Soon the peace and the look of the soul returns. Divinity awakens in her, and she calmly faces the danger. With a glance she controls the waves of this formidable nature. With her naked spirit she faces hell without veils. Cleaning. The Cobra contactee is of the Gnostic opinion that this universe was not created by the source, but arose as a result of dynamic tension between the source and the subquantum anomaly. This universe, in the current state of evolution, has not yet evolved, as is clearly seen in the ridiculously slow speed of light in ordinary space-time. The source directs the evolution of this universe towards light through the actions of the light forces, which are still learning to understand creation. Hence, there are many mistakes. The ancient nations knew this. In the Rig Veda, there is the famous hymn of creation, which states that the forces of light and source may not understand creation. The main focus of the light forces is now the cleansing of the subquantum anomaly. The subquantum anomaly is not as innocent as previously believed, and the Larker or Piper entity poses quite a challenge. In the previous cosmic cycle, some entities wanted to survive the Great Crisis when the universe collapsed into a singularity, and the only possible way to survive this was to forcibly project consciousness into the subquantum anomaly. Those entities from the previous cosmic cycle used highly advanced technology with extreme energies to push their consciousness into subquantum space. Through this process, they were extremely traumatized, losing their individuality and fused into a vengeful amorphous, enraged subquantum block called the Larker, as hinted at in these science fiction novels. The Larker, or Piper, was hidden for most of this cosmic cycle in subquantum space, and only recently, in the last few million years, has it pushed the dark forces into even greater anomaly and distortion. The Larker fully emerged during the 1996 Archon invasion to try to prevent the process of cosmic ascension and the ultimate elimination of evil. Since 1996, it plagues the quantum fluctuations of space-time indirectly from subquantum space, which the light continually forces to cleanse with modern technology. Larker is the underbelly of the universe draining through the encysted tumor of the quarantined Earth. The physical biochips of the surface population are subquantum portals through which the Larker emerges into the quantum fluctuations. Transfiguration. For centuries, prophets, seers, religions, and holy books have predicted a coming age in which heaven would manifest on earth. The prophecies revealed that during this auspicious time, humanity would awaken from this long exile in darkness. We would begin to remember who we are and how and why we are here, according to Patricia Diana Cota-Robles. We would develop our latent abilities within and discover that we are not the fragmented fear-based human egos that we have mistakenly accepted as our identity. Instead, we would realize that we are beloved sons and daughters of God. We would remember that everything our Father Mother God has is ours. The ancient prophets told us that this would be an era in which our physical transformation would occur at the atomic cellular level, and that our four earthly bodies, physical, etheric, mental, and emotional, would be transformed into expressions of vibrant health, eternal youth, and perfection, infinite physics. The beings of light have indicated that due to the myriad of activities that have taken place over the last several decades through the unified efforts of heaven and earth, humanity is currently in the midst of this process, which is known as divine alchemy. Although appearances may conflict with this information, they confirm that this is true. The divine alchemy process that we are all experiencing is changing our carbon-based planetary cells into fifth-dimensional crystalline sunlight cells that we will indwell when Mother Earth has completed her ascension into her solar reality. Advance. The advancement of a society by Steve Biko. Just as an individual can see cognitive dissonance or internal conflict grow until they break down the paradigm that is becoming uncomfortable, a society can also see how the conflict grows and grows until it breaks down the paradigms predominant. A global society is tormented by deceit, hatred and war, fooled by the dark side. The problem for us is how to resolve the situation without annihilating each other, and the answer is through peace, truth and justice. Truth and reconciliation is the roadmap to world peace. Correcting course and getting this planet back on track seems to be aligned with life's purpose, and that is what today's white hats strive to do. Positive change in line with the divine plan for the return of love onto this planet out of the negative chaos. Knowing that we follow a divine plan for the return of Gaia to a planet of love, we know that we have the support of heaven to break the chains of oppression and exploitation that humanity has suffered for millennia. But we also know that we have the support of heaven to do it with peace, truth and equity. Catastrophism. No. That's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.